Welcome, welcome, welcome to another episode of Hope Is Not Enough. My name is Pete Key, and today I have another guest, Dr. Corey Behel. Now, I've been knowing him for many years, mainly around the topic of athletics and motivation, all those things, but today he holds a different type job, similar, still helping kids. Tell us what you're doing now, Dr. Behel.
Well, first of all, really appreciate the opportunity, Pete, include me on this. And,
you gotta be,
just,
yes.
Great company being with you. And right now, my title is Director of Career Technical and Specialized Education.
Oh, in specialized education.
So the reason that we added specialized education to the dynamic of career tech is because a lot of people don't realize that career technical education spans a broad spectrum. I mean, it's just anything career focused. And
so what are some of those things that entail that?
Years ago, I think a lot of career technical education was kind of the sawing and the hammering and the welding and things like that. And all those are
shop.
still...
Well, we used to call it shop.
Exactly. And all those are still valuable skill sets.
Right.
However, they've expanded into some other areas, such as industrial technicians, engineering, medical education, just basically anything that encompasses something that a student can leave Florence High School and go out and transition to a really good quality of life, doing something where at the end of the day, they say, I get to go to work, not I've got to go to work. We've trained them, but there's just so many specialized skill sets now. That's why we've incorporated that.
Let me ask you this. So when you were a kid and you said, I'm going to college, I'm going to do this, was this in your plan? Like, how did you land in this? Because I mean.
That's a good question. So honestly, years ago, when you and I went to school, there just wasn't, intentional, what I would say, career exposure. And at that time,
we were always told you go to
college,
you get a job.
And we do not discourage college. And a lot of times people think that we want to encourage higher learning paths, whatever that looks like for you. This is what you want to do. We want to help them figure it out, right? And then we want to equip them to do it. So, if you want to be a teacher, absolutely. We want to make sure that you understand you've got to go to college. You want to go in the medical field. There's certain training that's associated with that.
That's good.
So whatever your path is, we want to link them into the development process post-high school, because high school's not the end. That is the next chapter.
Post-high school.
Yeah, post-high school.
I like the way you said that. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
So we want to train them and equip them while they're in high school, help them figure it out, and help them decide when they leave high school, they've got a directed path.
It's funny you mentioned that. I always, when I work with young people, I call it the 4 E's. Expose, educate, encourage, and empower. Expose them to what's possible, educate them on how to do it, encourage them to do it, and then empower them. So you all are pretty much doing that.
So your vision aligns with basically what our 4 pillars are, which is career exposure, career training and development, career integration. We want to put them in the field. Absolutely. We want to showcase what we've built. And by putting them in those channels, that helps them form network connections. Because think about who's going to hire them. It's who knows them, who's seen them perform at a high level.
So how are some of these skills transferable into the real workforce? So a high school student, maybe 12 for life, what's transferable so an employer will say, hey, because they were in that program, I want to hire them?
So I think what we do a really good job of is, and we're trying to be more and more intentional, is we listen to business industry. Like, what are even the jobs coming? Like, what's coming and what's current? And we want to make sure, they're high wage, high demand. That way we're feeding the need. We call it feeding the need. Everything that comes out of the high school, we need to be feeding an employability dynamic. So we listen to them. We have partnerships. We've got 120 business industry partnerships. There's nobody that's got the scale of partnerships, and nobody's doing workforce development better than what we are. And that's not me saying that. That's validated by the award recognitions that we've got. So it's listening, working collectively with them, because we don't want to be a career technical specialized education department. We want to be a network system. We're working outside the walls of a school with our higher learning institutions, Northwest Shells Community College, UNA, dual enrollment, and then basically training them with the knowledge and the competencies, and then giving them real world experiential learning.
So what are some of the challenges that you face in trying to do this? Because I know you had to, at some point, once it was created, you got to go and sell it. You got to go to that business owner. You got to go to that CEO. You got to go to the school system. You got to go to the Department of Education and say, this is who did that, and how did you come up with that?
So that's a good question. I think it's basically gradually got momentum, if you will. I think that when we started this,
so in other words, they wasn't on board.
And I think what we've done is we've been able to scale it up. We call it scaling up, and we never want to come back to the same program. I mean, we don't want to rest on our laurels, as they say. And we've got a great program. Well, let's not stay in there. We want to evolve.
Get better.
And we reflect at the end of every year, what are we doing well? What can we integrate that nobody else is doing? Because we don't want to compare ourselves to other people. We want to be innovative. We want to start high scale experiences for students, where ultimately it gives students coming out of our programs in Florence High School an advantage. But it took time, I guess you would say, maybe to generate buy-in where people understood, we're not discouraging college. We're blending in these careers.
Because I'm sure you had to sell that to some educators.
Absolutely.
They're going to be at school for 4 hours a day, and then they're going to go and work for 4 hours a day.
Yes.
And the educators said, I want them at school all day.
Absolutely. and I think they had to learn to understand, like, this is simultaneous. Yes, they're making money, but yet there's a post-high school opportunity. And think about something. What keeps students from landing their first career job? They don't have real world experience.
Right.
That's the number one reason, the barrier, if you will, that keeps them from landing their first really high paying job. Well, guess what we do in Launch and 12 for Life? We integrate that. They can check that box off, but it's not just a work experience. Like, we're helping them get business industry certifications where they can put things to their name that when they sit down at the table, they've got a resume that's already spoke for them.
Yeah, I tell you, the thing that I really like about it is that, just coming out there once a month when you first started, life skills, show up on time, show up dressed for, like, all the things that y'all are teaching them beyond them just having that job, showing them that, hey, you got to know this, this, and this, along with the skill set.
Well, here's the thing that all of my team, I think, recognizes, and I want to put myself around people that recognize every student has potential.
Yes.
Every student has potential for greatness. And what we've got to do is we've got to tap into that. Like, what are their strengths? What are their gifts? Because everybody's got them.
Everyone has.
And, we want to make sure that we teach them. One of the things that I think is the secret sauce of our programs, if you will, is the professional skills class that you just alluded to. Yes. Communication. We want to make them self-confident. We want them to be able to look somebody in the eye because they're going to have to interview.
Yes.
We want to.
I remember being out there and we were just shaking hands.
Absolutely.
Hey, hello, my name is.
We want to enable them to have good decision-making skills, to be able to work with all different kinds of personalities. Wow. You may not like everybody that you work with, but you are going to respect them. Because they're part of your team. We teach them that every organization has got 3 categories of employees. You got your valuable. Mm-hmm. We teach them the behaviors associated with valuable and how that benefits you. Like, that's going to help you get promotions and move up those channels and where they don't want to lose you. And we've got that average. Well, average is easily replaceable. We can replace average. Somebody else can follow rules and then we have negatively impactful. So you don't want to be either of those two. You want to make yourself value, create value for yourself. So we really try to instill in them, like, your workplace is your football field, is your basketball court, is your tennis court, whatever. Associate it to competitiveness.
That's amazing. We talk even with our program about becoming a VIP.
Yeah.
We help them establish vision, identity, and purpose. And most of our students, they got this slogan, Mr. Key, we want to secure the bag. And we always say the bag is, hey, I know you're locked in, but do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button real quick so we can keep bringing you content like this. Your behavior, your attendance, and your grades. How important is it for them to just understand being on time not calling out, not, because that was one of the things we dealt with when we used to come out there. Man, what you got here 5 minutes late, if you come. Talk a little bit about that, how important that is.
So we instill in them an understanding of attendance is the number one reason that people lose jobs.
Attendance.
And it's attendance. And we teach them there's two dynamics to attendance. There's not only being there, but it's being there early. We don't even call it on time, because if you're shooting for a target of being on time, you're going to be late.
You're going to be late.
Like don't if you're supposed to be somewhere at 7 o'clock, don't target 7 o'clock.
Yes.
Because you're going to be late. And it takes me 15 minutes to get there. Well, that's if everything goes perfectly. Everything's not going to go perfectly.
And the 16-year-old driving at 7 a.m. trying to get that.
Absolutely. So you've got to psychologically target a 15-minute or 10-minute ahead time. And that way you don't blow in the door like a tornado trying to get there. You come in and you get your time.
So how many do you see blowing in the door?
Well,
like
we do.
In the beginning. In the beginning.
And that's probably one of the most gratifying things of our job. And I don't call it a job. We actually teach them to think of, don't ever think of something as a job. It's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to multiply that opportunity, turn it into another one. But to see the life change happen.
Yes.
I mean, it's life change, because they're young people.
Yes.
And you and me were that age. And we were late at times. And thank goodness we had people that taught us that's unacceptable.
Not only that, I always talk about, how many of y'all want someone to take money out of your check?
Yeah.
Every time you miss an hour here, you miss an hour there. How gratifying is it for the family to have a 16 or 17-year-old working, making money while being in school? How helpful is that to some families?
Well, and we've got a saying, kids don't care what you know till they know that you care. And I think that we've really had a lot of buy-in from our parents, because they recognize that we see what could become rather than what is with their young people, with their children. And we want to focus on, again, potential over limitations.
That's good.
And it's really gratifying to see where we maybe start in August, maybe when some of these students first start their roles, where they're at in the spring. And it's just like, wow.
So when you all started this, I don't know what year it was, from Dr. Womack to Dr. Shaw and all of those. Was it your vision? Was it a collective vision? Was it, you just had this epitome, you wake up in the middle of the night, and what if kids could, what was the original thought? Because I know you started with Southwire.
What's that with 12 for Life?
That led to 12 for Life, that led to launch and all of that. And I'll let you share what each one of those means.
When I came into launch, we started at Southwire, 12 for Life.
Yes.
So 12 for Life, our partnership with Southwire, we could spend the rest of the day talking about that. Right. Because that has been an absolute transformational partnership in so many dimensions. So when I came into Southwire in 2012, I think there was like 31 students. I'm talking about for all, there just was not a lot of students.
Now y'all have different shifts and everything.
So I knew, like, we have got to scale up. We've got to generate student interest. So I knew this, I believed in myself. I said, like, I know I can connect with students. Gotcha. I can build those relationships. So I knew I had to connect with students. We had to mobilize a base in the high school. And I knew this, if we treated students well and there were outcomes associated with this experience,
you would get the back.
The students are going to market it.
Yes.
They're going to build it. So we got the student interest. We got engagement in the high school.
Yes.
They basically went to their peers. Hey, this is a great thing. There were outcomes coming with it.
Yes.
So Southwire ended up going from 30-something students to where we had about 250 every interview process applying. So it didn't sit well with me and some others that we're turning away 100 students that really want this opportunity. We didn't have the staff or another way.
Have a team in,
Not to mention, Southwire can only have so many. There was about 100 in that program at a time. So that is where launch came into play. We had a vision like, why don't we focus on careers? Engineering, welding, electrician, digital
name
media.
Some of the places that you all have partnerships with.
We have been very fortunate. And of course, launch took off and it got legs. The problem now is we're back to the same dynamic. We're turning away 100 to 150 every hiring cycle, which is a good thing that kids want in.
Right.
But you know me,
yeah,
I want to serve them all.
How can I serve all of them?
Yes, but yet you can't set us up to fail either, where we're having so many that we can't manage them and really give them that experience that they need, the teaching and training. So some of the partnerships that we've got are just local, are Bigby Steel.
Okay.
They're one of our new partners. They've been a phenomenal partner of ours. That is an engineering, welding, manufacturing dynamic. There's just a lot of potential.
And a lot of these students, this is the area that they want to go into anyway.
So Nancy has been a really good partner of ours. That's the medical field.
Gotcha.
Helen Keller, Kyle Buchanan has been great to work with us.
I remember being in the courthouse.
Oh, yeah.
And I was purchasing a tag or something. And I see a student there, and I'm like, is this? And she's like, Mr. Kidd. I was like, oh, yeah. And I mean, like, is there a limit to who can,
honestly,
like, let's say someone's watching it and they own a business or they're a part of a business.
So you asked me a question, I think when we first started work, what are some of the challenges? So when we started off in launch in 2018, when I sit down with these business industry partners, I would say 90 to 95% of them are sitting on no. All right, and the reason they were sitting on no is they're thinking a high school student, they've had interns before, and they felt like it was kind of more babysitting. But you know what I'm doing when I'm sitting there? I'm listening to them, and I'm processing that information, and I'm saying, we've got to change their view of this. So I was like, it's got to be an extension of their
got to be a benefit. How can I be?
It's got to add ROI. They've got to get return on investment. So I was able to convince them, get us in the door. Gotcha. Once we got in the door, honestly, I borderline threatened the kids, like, don't mess this up. Do not mess this up.
The kids
this
like,
was very challenging for me to get us in their house.
Right, no.
So we had to prove ourselves. But I told Leanna Trimble at the time, who was my staff with launch, I said, if our students do what they're capable of and we train them right, within 3 years, the businesses will do what the students have done at Southwire. They will be telling their friends about and it just took off. We went from 27 business industry partners that first year to 111 now. Gotcha. And that's not just in Florence. That's in Huntsville. We've got some in Nashville. Game changer.
So the growth, the scaling, and I'm a beneficiary of it as well.
You scaled up what you've done.
My daughter, no, I'm just saying my daughter wanted to go into American Sign Language. That was her field. She was locked in on that, became a part of launch. Yep. And she always used to say, Dad, kids who are doing poor in school, they get attention. The ones that are doing really well, high achieving, but the ones who are in the middle kind of get left behind. She becomes a part of launch, finds her thing, goes into a elementary school, start working with her kid, finds out that she don't just want to do American Sign Language. She wants to go into helping kids with autism and goes off to college, gets a master's and everything at the BCBA. How important is it for people to understand that college may not be for everyone, but everyone can get launched into a career? What do you do when you lose the passion, but you still have to show up to work every day because you need the paycheck? I mean, you have the degree, you have the skill set to do what you're gonna do, but sometimes we need that boost, right? What do you do when the thing that you used to love, now you don't even like it anymore, right? Sometimes we need a boost. Everyone say, I need a boost. Somebody say burnout. What do you do when your passion doesn't match your paycheck?
So, and a lot of people are not mindful that a student figuring out what they don't want to do is just as valuable.
Yes.
We had a young lady that just really was passionate, like she was going to be a nurse. Well, we put her over at Nancy, and it was October of the semester, and she came to me very emotional, felt like she had failed. That's not my thing. And I was like, this is a celebration. Guess what? That saves her a lot of time and money.
That's
her mother gave me one of the biggest hugs, and she goes, I knew that was not her, because, there's parts
so being
of nursing.
able to do that.
So,
that's great.
And Erin, your daughter did a phenomenal job. But, again, it's experiences. Kids figure it out by doing it.
Yes.
So you have to put them in these channels,
wow.
and it's a game changer. Well, it's not a game changer; it's a life changer.
Life changer.
And again,
I wonder how many kids I'm saying kids, but how many people graduate from college saying that they want to, I know one guy graduated with a degree in political science. And now he's like want to go into social work, but he spent. And I'm like,
and you're spot on, and that's where I think launch into these 12 for Life, these workforce experiences, to me are the most valuable thing that you can do before you leave the high school, because it gives them that real world career training. And for me, and you might can relate, but when I took classes in college, I took a lot of classes that I didn't need, and let's be honest, they're going to take a check from you.
Yes.
But, so if you can have, I'm just being honest, that's real world.
That's real.
But we want them to have a directed, strategic,
connected.
And if we can help them figure it out and equip them to do it, then guess what? They're on their way.
You said it earlier about each one of them have a gift. I call them tags.
Yeah.
Talents, abilities, gifts, skills.
Love it. I'm going to steal that.
Love it. But every one of them have a talent, ability, gifts, and skill. And when you can connect that talent, ability, gift, and skill to something in the real world that they want to do, even going to school, they may have said, I don't want to go to school, but because I want to do this, I'm willing to sacrifice and do what I need to do. How many experiences have you seen like that, where someone really wanted to do one thing and then found out later through launch that, you know what, I'm not sure if I want to do that now?
Well, I think, we've been fortunate. We recently, our launch program was selected actually about a month ago as the Alabama Work-Based Learning Governor's Work Seal of Excellence. So we're really, it's top program in the state. And of course, Southwire has been very fortunate. We've been really blessed to win a lot of awards, and that's really good for our students. And we celebrate those. But more than the awards, and I tell our students this, are outcomes. That is what we want: career transitions, career outcomes, because that means that we've played a part in somebody's development. And the most gratifying thing is seeing our students become the best versions of themselves.
That's good.
And just maximize their potential.
See, you're so motivating, man. You're motivating me again. My whole launch into Florence City Schools started with you talking to me. You were telling me, you were like, Pete, man, we could use
this.
You,
is the reason that kids are wanting to come, because I honestly think their peers are saying, like, hey, when I walked in the door, I was at this level, but when I'm walking out the door, I'm at this level. We owe these kids our best.
That's good.
We absolutely owe them intentional, driven.
And I just want to give you your flowers.
Yeah.
While you talk, really, because your excitement, your energy, your motivation, your belief in valuing them before they even appear to be valuable. I always say you can never add value to someone that you don't value. So I got to value you before I can add value. You already value them before they even show the skills, and you motivating them. So I got to give you your flowers, because there are a lot of people who were like, I don't know if this is gonna, because if I could be totally honest, again, going back to you motivating me in Florence City Schools, I was not in Florence City Schools. I had a complaint about, the process. I said, if a kid needs help with English, we get them a tutor. If they need help with sports, we get them a trainer. If they get in trouble, we send them to alternative school. But they go to alternative school and go back the same way. And Dr. Womack connected me with you, and you was like, Pete, you'll be good, man. You ought to just come over and talk to the kids.
Well,
and that's how I saw. You were the one who motivated me to go in those classrooms and start motivating kids with I call it the mindset to go with the skill set.
So I will say this, and I'm a firm.
And have you always had that?
I think that we've all got, I call them spiritual gifts. I really do. Gotcha. I call them, you've got them, and I've been blessed. I think I've got some things that contribute to people, but I think that you've got to use your spiritual gifts. And something you said, we talked about, you alluded alternative school. And I will say this, the more of these kind of experiences, you're going to need a whole lot less of alternative school. Because if you give a student an opportunity and you start tapping into their skill sets, their strengths, their self-esteem goes up, they want to do well. We have people all the time that come and tour our Southwire plan, and they'll say, oh, well, I know that one. They used to be in trouble. Not anymore. Not anymore. And we tell the students when they come in, like, I don't care about your past. Right. Like, I love taking a slate here. We've all got a past. Yes. Everybody does. But guess what? Your past does not have to be your present. Like, that's one chapter in your book. We're about to write a new chapter together. There was a student years ago that just had multiple experiences. I had teachers telling me not to bring this student in, some teachers, and, he's been in trouble. But I love those kids, those are the ones because guess what? If we don't catch them before they get out of the high school channels, we've done a disservice to them. Because they're in our care. And this young man went from, I think, 11 suspensions to 0. But I told him, I said, everybody's telling me why not to hire you. Guess what? Your story's not over yet. Right. We're about to go from 11 to 0 because I see value in you. Man, that is so good. But again, it's making them believe, wait a minute. It doesn't matter what you've done or what somebody's told you. We're going to go to a whole nother level here. We're going to write a story together.
I know Jaheem, and he was in 9th grade alternative school with an F average. 10th grade, he had a 60 average. His junior year, he becomes a part of our program. And he said, man, I love lunch with the Keys, He said, Mr. Key, but I live with my grandmother. It's about 6 or 7 of us. Finds out all these horrific things about, his mom, his dad, and all of that. He said, I want to become a part of 12 for Life. Becomes a part of 12 for Life. Gets a job. I mean, now, when he first got his job, he got his check. I think his first check, he purchased like $200 worth of tattoos.
Some of them want to eat their check. Some of them will go to Zach's and their check's gone. It's like, what are you doing?
He got his first check. I said, what did you get? He said, I got my arm tatted. I was like, man, you can't. So he got his next check. He bought some Jordans. I said, man, we got to figure out what you're going to do with the money. I said, man. And so after about 3 or 4 checks, he was like, I said, man, when are you going to open up a bank account? When are you going to do this? You need to do this and this and this. And I just kept going on and on and on. And he said, Mr. Key, I know I ought to do it. I know what I ought to do. But I don't know how.
So I want to hit on that real quick. And you do it all the time.
And I realized at that moment,
one of your
we
messages,
could be expecting them something.
The theme of your message is hope. So I'm going to say this, that in order to take a young person where they need to go, you've got to love them and accept them where they're at. You've got to go into their world a little bit. You've got to learn about them, some of the challenges that they face. I have learned so much, just going to some of their homes and just understand like, hey, this is what I live in. But you also have to, some of them have had dream stealers. They didn't kill their dreams before they even develop. If you tell a young person they're bad and they can't, they're going to believe that. They're going to give you that. But if you tell them like, wait a minute, I see value in you. The light will come on and you invest in them. Not only can you get here, I want to be part of your journey.
I'm going to show you how to get there.
Absolutely. We want to take you to a scale. It doesn't matter where your parents, what they did or whatever.
Right. You have an opportunity.
You can paint a picture.
When we say hope is not enough, and this whole show is about taking people from hoping to having, what's that one thing that people need to couple with their hope? If you could look in the camera and tell them what that thing is.
I think that you've got to instill in them that to have an inner belief. Believe that you can be successful. Deion Sanders, one of my favorite athletes and coaches, he's got a saying, you didn't invent me, so you can't prevent me. And it's like, there's people that in your life, in my life, that told me you can't, whether it's you're not smart enough or you're not big enough or whatever, but they're putting barriers up. Like, don't let them dictate or write your story. You know, you got to believe in yourself. It doesn't matter even what we believe. You've got to believe it yourself. And I want to go back to what you talked about how this thing evolved. And I've been really blessed, really fortunate to be around some really good mentors.
Yes, yes.
All right. You have made me a better version of myself. Frida Coleman Reed was one of my first supervisors. Dr. Reed, just learned a lot from her.
Gotcha.
John Winston, that works with me.
Yes, probation officer. Yeah,
one of my favorite people in the world, and worked with him years ago when I was at Riverbend. Brought him back. He's over at Southwire 12 for Life now, just planting seeds with young people, just putting yourself around like-minded people that are pouring into these kids, because it's not an I thing. It's a we thing. And we need more people that unconditionally love our kids, and that are going to be people that invest in them.
That's good. That's good. So listen, as we close this episode, from hoping to having, hope is not enough. You know, I always share one of my favorite quotes. If your presence doesn't add value, your absence won't make a difference.
It's powerful.
And every day we get an opportunity to add value to others. My name is Pete Key. Hope is not enough, but hope gives motivation. Motivation drives effort, and effort produces results. Hope is not enough, but you still got to have it. See you on the next episode.